What's going on, YouTube? Today I'm going to be showing you 5 tips on how I got better at Dark Souls PvP. Let's get started. The first tip I'll go over is Hyper Armor. Hyper Armor is what we call whenever a attack is in mid animation. The attack will now finish its animation no matter what, and it'll deal any damage within its range. The attack can still be parried at the very beginning, but once it's through its mid animation, any damage that you take will not stagger your attack at all. Your attack will keep on moving through its animation, and it'll deal any damage to any players nearby. For example, in the video you're watching right now, watch how every time I swing my sword and the player goes in to attack me, whenever he tries to attack me and it does hit, it won't do anything to my animation. So it'll just keep on going through, it'll hit him, and then I get to hit him again. So it's a pretty useful trick for new players in PvP and stuff like that. My second tip for you guys is how to learn what you're good with in PvP. If you have ever PvP'd before and you know what you like, just keep using that if you're really good with it. But if you're not, go ahead and switch to another weapon. It doesn't really matter what weapon you switch to as long as you can get the kills with it. You should never get too attached to a weapon. PvP will always change throughout every soul level that you go through. The higher it gets, the more challenging it becomes. As PvP becomes more challenging for you, it may call for different weapon types, such as switching from a mage class to a sword and shield class to a tank class, anything like that. My third tip for you guys is to never only parry. The reason I say this is because I can't even tell you how many matches I've came across that people just try to parry me, and they're usually unsuccessful about 50 to 80% of the time. It's ridiculous. Another tip that I have for you guys is never only use magic. Magic in Dark Souls 3 is one of the most hit or miss things I've come across in Dark Souls 3. That you either hit them with your fireball or you completely miss them, so you gotta really know when to use it. If I ever do use magic a lot in a match, I'll always have a backup weapon with me, like a great sword or sword and shield or anything like that. My fourth tip for you guys is to always use all of your attacks on your weapons. The reason I say this is because I can't tell you how many times I've come across people that use a standard basic attack against me with their little S-stock or something like that. Not only can this be very repetitive, but it can also lead to easy strategies against your attacks, as they know what attack you will be using most of the time. And the last tip I have for you guys is to always remember to use new strategies. I know this tip may sound very generic, but you won't believe how many people I've come across that use the same strategy over and over and over again in combat. Don't complain whenever you get backstabbed every 5 seconds because you're using the same strategy over and over again. This can also help you whenever your opponents will change up their strategies on you mid-fight. For example, if I see another player turning more offensive towards me, I'll turn more defensive if I have a greatsword. But if he starts turning defensive, I'll go offensive with my greatsword. I'll use more weapon art, I'll use the jab attack, I'll use just any other attack that might be more aggressive towards them. If you see another player using a greatsword, for example, you could switch over to a more offensive mode, as you can try to go for backstabs while he is using a plunge attack on you, and you loop around him. And my very last thing I'm going to say is find a good place to PvP. I like to PvP outside Pontiff Sullivan's boss area, right outside on that little step. It's in the video right now. So just as soon as you beat Pontiff Sullivan, and if you have the red soapstone, you can just head out there and place your soapstone down. You'll get summoned within a minute at max. That's about it. Alright guys, that'll be it from my 5 tips video. If you have any recommendations for my next video, leave them in the comments, and have a nice day.